All right. Live time. Here we go. Let's do a live stream. Get back on schedule. Kind of been a little bit flaky schedule wise these last few weeks because of filmmaking. Let me just get everything set up while we're kind of waiting to see who all pops in to see us. Hopefully it's a good night. It's been a little bit scheduling wise, like I said, been a little bit off. Oh, who do we have? Hey, Norin Rad, how you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. We had our fantasy film ball bidding over the weekend, and it was pretty outrageous and a good time. That is up here on the YouTubes to watch if you guys want to see that. Getting my stuff ready. Extreme endings. We're doing extreme endings. I chose to do extreme endings because it was tied neck and neck with what we did last week. The rom-coms for people that hate rom-coms. That one was on a funky day because it was a holiday. Are you hearing everything all right, Norin? We sound good so far. Had some issues with audio lately. All right. Just setting up all my tabs here. What have you been up to? You seen anything good? Any good movies lately? I saw, working on my Pushing 100, I did see some stuff that we can talk about. Let's see. What'd you say here? Got a chance to watch Jurassic World Dominion and The Girl Next Door. Okay, thank you. Sounds good. Okay, good. Okay, so what did you think of Jurassic Park? What did you think of that? For me, it wasn't my jam. I don't want to be like too negative about it, but it was not for me. Let's see how many I've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got like 6 or 7 movies here for this live stream. All right. I do want to talk a little bit about the WALL-E criterion that's coming out because there's been a lot of engagement about that in the last handful of days. Let's see. The Girl Next Door. It surprised me. It was a horror film based on a true story that happened in 1958. Oh, wait. Is that? I think I've seen this. Based on a book also. Jack Ketchum, is that who it was? Is it Jack Ketchum, based on a Jack Ketchum book? Because if it is, I've seen that movie and I also liked it, and it was surprising, but I also liked that movie. 2 out of 5 stars on the Jurassic Park. Didn't enjoy it. Yep, I'm with you on that. But yeah, if you're talking about The Girl Next Door, the Jack Ketchum thing, I am correct. Well, I should write that down. It doesn't happen that often. Yeah, I like that movie too. There's something interesting about that movie, though. I've always thought, because it's such gritty subject matter. But I think, like you say, it's based on a story from 1968 that the filmmaker tried to do the film, shot the film, and colored graded the film to look very crisp. Like there's a crisp, clean look to it that I think kind of adds to the horror element in some ways, like because it's not expected. Normally with that kind of subject matter, you would expect it to be kind of gritty, that 16 millimeter grainy look, and I don't really feel that with The Girl Next Door quite so much. I think it's good. Yeah, it's a good movie. He apparently does has a whole series of horror-ish kind of horror thriller books. I've never read any of them. You said the performances blew you out of the water really good. Yeah, I think that's, the acting was quite good in that movie, especially for it being kind of I guess not low budget, but kind of like definitely out of the mainstream Hollywood space. So you definitely had to go a little bit more indie on the actors. And kid actors or young actors too. So yeah, it's good. Are you going to do 31 days of Halloween? I'm trying to decide if I want to do something on my stream talking about my 31 days of Halloween or if I'm going to do a video. Yeah, I'm still debating on that, but I'm putting together my list. I'm going to do a movie a day every day. So I'm working on it now. Although I don't have to technically do a movie a day every day because I am doing 2 12 hours of terror events. So each one of those is 7 movies. So technically almost half the month I'm going to do in 2 days. One of the 12 hours of terror is happening here at my place and the other one's happening at my local art house theater. Ooh, while you respond to that, let me grab a drink. Okay. I'm back. To get the Waterloo. ASMR. All right. So I'm curating my 12 hours of terror. So I can't talk about what I'm going to be showing here until the event happens because I don't want anybody who's coming to get spoiled because no one knows what it's going to be. On my channel, I have been ranking top 10s in subgenres of horror for Halloween. Still working out my watch list. Ooh, let me go and subscribe to your channel. I can't believe I wasn't already because I want to see that. Is it just your name, your channel? What's the name? I'm gonna go sub it up right now. 89. Do you do physical media also, or is it just mainly movie stuff? I'm looking for you. Nornrad 89. All right. Oh, good. You also do physical media. That's awesome. Here I go over here. Oh, there you are. Gotcha. Subbed you up. Awesome. Oh, just glancing. You have actual production value. Like it looks like you actually include trailers and all kinds of stuff. Let me hit that notification bell here real quick. There we go. Gotcha. I mean, I do sometimes do more editing. I do it so much for work. I just don't wanna. Right? There. All right, I'll check out some of your stuff tonight. Usually what I like to do is for non-live stuff, I usually cast it from my phone to my TV in the bedroom and just chill and look at YouTube videos before bed. Probably the worst thing to do for my sleep, especially since I look at all horror and physical media stuff. So I'm either, having nightmares or, dreaming about spending my money on buying stuff, movies. So probably why I'm broke all the time. It's okay though. It's okay. So I saw The Room over the weekend also. You familiar with The Room, worst movie ever made? I posted a little TikTok video like montage of the night because The Room is for anybody who doesn't know, it's a movie that's produced, directed, written by Tommy Wiseau, also stars Tommy Wiseau, and what is the movie about really? It's about a guy who has a girlfriend who cheats on him and some stuff happens. It's really bad. But it's so bad that it's become kind of like a Rocky Horror Picture Show event when you see it live. If you're in a good like art house theater that gets into the sort of participatory elements of it. My favorite thing, there's a lot of great things about that movie that I love, the audience experience, but probably my favorite thing is the production value, or not production value, the set design is so bizarre. Like there's a couch situated in front of a TV, like literally sitting in front of a TV, and it's just there. And there's a framed photo of a spoon, and that becomes probably my favorite part of the participation element of the movie, because everybody, when you see that image of the spoon in the background, everybody throws spoons into the air. And a lot of people yell the word spoon, and it's just fun. It's just interactive stuff. I took 400 plastic spoons with me to the screening, and it was sold out. So there was 250 of us in there. All right, let's see. What do you got here? Only one I've seen with James Franco. Yeah, that's a disaster artist. So I don't really recommend watching The Room, like for like really watching The Room. I think find it playing in a theater near you and go and see it that way, because it's a bad movie. It's not good. It's just not good. But in a crowd of people with a specialty cocktail and a bag full of spoons, it's a fun night. It is a fun night. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start talking a little bit about before I jump into the movies, into the movie theme. I want to talk for just a few minutes about the Criterion announcement that they're releasing WALL-E on 4K UHD November 22nd. So there's a lot of discourse going on about that, and it is a big deal. It is a big deal because it's a Disney product, and Disney notoriously holds tight to their stuff. They don't let other studios put their stuff out. So the fact that Criterion's putting it out is a big deal, and it's a little bit. So I'm excited for it because it's a Criterion actually doing a good version of a good Pixar movie. I have the WALL-E Steelbook, 4K Steelbook, and it's an okay Steelbook, and it's an okay presentation. It's good, but it's not wonderful, because no Disney 4Ks are wonderful. Their 4Ks are half-assed, all of them. So just for loving the movie, it's exciting, but it is a little concerning, because why would Disney start licensing out their movies to a physical media studio unless they were starting to step away from physical media? I did predict this in my summer update for my State of Physical Media is Physical Media Dead video that I do every year. I did predict that this would be the way it would go, is major studios would start licensing out more of their stuff to boutique and art house distributors. And, we have seen that already with Arrow Video getting some pretty plum stuff. They put out Pitch Black from Universal. Kino Lorber has an incredible deal with Paramount, putting out something like 65 Paramount films, and we've already seen some really cool stuff coming from that. I'm hyped to get the Tropic Thunder 4K they're putting out, some other stuff too. Oh, you haven't heard this news. So yeah, it's kind of it is kind of a big deal. It's kind of a big deal. So the pushback that I've been hearing is a little distressing, because it comes off a little elitist, and it's a lot of Criterion people complaining that this doesn't feel like a Criterion movie because it's a big studio blockbuster movie. And, Criterion puts out art house movies and independent movies and foreign films. Well, the only thing I have to say to that is Armageddon. Criterion put out a premium boutique release of Armageddon during their DVD heyday. And RoboCop. I mean, they've put out blockbusters before. And I think Wall-E actually makes a hell of a lot more sense on Criterion than Armageddon did. So when you look at the actual official mission statement, and I may yet do a video just about this, but when you look at the official mission statement of Criterion, it's that they want to put out important works of film at the best possible quality. That's essentially what it is. So, and that's so subjective. What's an important film? Now, to me, of the Pixar films, Wall-E is probably the most fitting of any Pixar film because it has a strong socio-cultural statement, which is often a thing with Criterion movies. It's groundbreaking in its visuals, which is something that Pixar isn't as much leading now as they were then. It's unique. It's almost a silent film. I think literally, if there were to be a Disney movie that would fit the Criterion catalog, it would be Wall-E. So my feeling about, let's see, what do you have? You have mixed feelings. Let me try to get your whole statement in here. Mixed feelings on it. You love boutique labels and trust them more than Disney. Yeah, I agree. So here's what I think. When we think about Criterion has always been a niche distributor, a niche studio. They've always been super expensive compared to everybody else. The titles that they put out have been very limited in their audience. They wouldn't put something out that sells 1 million copies. So looking at the state of physical media, when you see that the overall audience is shrinking, the audience for physical media in general is aggressively shrinking, well, then you've got to assume that their already small audience is shrinking more. So I think about them releasing a blockbuster like Wall-E. I think about Takeshi Miike, if you know the director, is a Japanese director from the early 2000s. He's still doing stuff now, but he kind of made his bones in the early 2000s. He would do 2-3 Yakuza films because he knew they would sell, and then put that money into some weird art housey horror movie. He would do 2 or 3 brainless Yakuza films and make a ton of money off of them because they sell. And then he would do Audition or Ichi the Killer or even some like period dramas and stuff. He would just experiment, kids movies. So this is Criterion doing that. If they can start on occasion putting out a blockbuster like Wall-E that they know the general collector is going to want, then they can sell 100,000 copies of it. That helps finance the little Euro movie that's going to sell 4,000 or 5,000 copies. It makes sense to me, and I have no issue. Now, I hope I don't see Criterion putting out Cars 2. That would kind of... I don't want Arrow Video or Scream Factory putting that out either, to be honest, but that would kind of suck. I feel like, and I might actually do, like I said, I'm going to talk more about this, but I feel like if they could put out big movies, they can get those licensing deals and put out some big movies that will help buffer the more indie stuff. I'm here for it. I'm all in for it. Let's see. What did you say? Enjoy Wall-E. I think it does. You think it deserves more love, and it does fit with. Like I was saying, I think of their catalog, I think that one really makes the most sense. So I don't understand why a lot more people kind of don't see it that way. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I'm right all the time or anything like that. But to me, it just kind of makes sense. Just kind of makes sense. All right, so let's start talking about some extreme ending films. What do you think defines an extreme ending film? A film with an extreme ending. I'll tell you the way I've defined it, because it can't just be a movie that has a violent ending, because I mean I like horror movies. That's half my collection. I'm looking when I was trying to figure this out. I was looking for films that probably not only were violent in some way, but also had like a crazy tonal shift, like something that just felt out of place and left you with this ending like, oh, what the hell did I just watch? Well, and I think a movie theme night of 2 or 3 of those movies would be a really fun night, especially if you've got people who haven't seen them. That's what you really want. If you've got an extreme ending film, you've got to introduce that to people who haven't seen them. And because you've seen it and you've forever seen it, there's no going back, but you can revel in other people's reactions. So that's how I'm defining an extreme ending. Oh, what did you say? The story reminds me of Alfred Stone making X-rated film to make money, to make Alice, Sweet Alice. Yeah, for sure. It's the same thing. You can do something will sell, and then you can take that money and then turn around and use it to finance whatever, your dream project. Now, little did we know that I would say Alice, Sweet Alice has sold quite a bit more than the X-rated film. I don't know that to be a fact. Because those sell. They sold probably more back then. But it was probably, a little bit of a risk. So if that helped, get that movie made, great. Okay, so extreme endings. Let me just jump into it here. Let me set this up. So I'm going to kind of work my way from somewhat extreme ending to most extreme. That's kind of how I have these stacked up. Unfortunately, and I think I did say this in the description, in order to be able to talk about extreme endings, we're kind of, to some degree, be spoiling these movies. So if you're watching this with me now or you're watching it later, I'm going to try my best not to be too spoilery. But, I mean, just by virtue of me pulling the movie up, and talking about it, we're going to know that the ending is kind of, extreme. So let's see. Let's get into it here. So this first movie, I think the entire movie is extremely weird. So this is probably the least extreme ending of the ones that I've pulled out, because as crazy ass as the ending is, it kind of fits with the rest of the movie more than some of these others do. But here we go. Let's talk about it. We're talking about is Mother. This is such a divisive movie from 2017. It's directed by Darren Aronofsky, written by Darren Aronofsky, stars Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem, Ed Harris. I love this movie. A lot of people don't like this one at all, and I can kind of understand it. Couple's relationship is tested when uninvited guests arrive at their home. Oh, Lord, disrupting their tranquil existence. Now, the entire movie is a metaphor. So let's just and tell me if you can hear the audio in the trailer, because that has been a thing that I've been having some trouble with here.
We spent all our time here. I want to make a paradise.
Do you hear it?
She redid all of it, every last detail, and she breathed life back into every room.
Are you happy?
I love you. Please, come in. Hello.
Hello. He's a stranger. We're just gonna let him sleep in our house. Hello.
Hello.
Did you know he had a wife? He has pictures of you in his luggage.
What were you doing in their luggage?
What do they want? God help you.
They've come here to see me.
Come quick. You're insane. You're insane.
All I'm trying to do is bring life into this house. Open the door to new people, new ideas.
I'm so sorry.
Get out of my house. You give and you give and you give. It's just never enough.
So for people who don't like this movie, I completely, like I said, I completely understand. This movie, it speaks about Mother Nature. It also speaks about, it kind of riffs on the ideas of, some ideas of Adam and Eve. But the core piece of it that I really like the most is the Mother Nature part, where Mother Nature constantly tries to reinvent or rebirth itself, and how Mother Nature fights against the incursion, or is that a word, incursion? The intrusion of outside elements, represented by Ed Harris and his wife. And it gets very extreme by the end. And what happens to Mother Nature's baby is where the really extreme ending happens. And then the movie takes this weird turn from aggressive and crazy and fast paced to silent and quiet and still somber. I love it. I it's a very gripping trailer. The score and edits make it tense. Yeah, so this movie is fascinating because if you get the 4K, in the extras they show, because the entire thing happens inside this house, that the actors got together in a giant warehouse and drew the layout of the house with chalk on the ground and rehearsed every bit of it aggressively for weeks before they filmed, so that they knew 100% what was going to happen in each and every scene. They knew where the camera was going to be. They knew what the edits were going. Everything was pre-planned to a degree that I don't know has ever been done before or done since. Jennifer Lawrence is incredible in this movie. She's incredible. And she was a known entity, but a little less so in 2017. Obviously she, had done the Hunger Games movies and was good in those. But this one really showed some range for her. Javier Bardem has always been great, and he's excellent in this movie. Ed Harris has always been amazing. He's creepy. Ed Harris is a bad guy. Is so delicious. And he alone makes it worth looking at. So yeah, the movie gets oh, hey, what's up? What's up, Tristan? So you said you love it. Thank goodness. I feel like I'm the only one that appreciates this movie. Fantastic and really engaging movie about constant death and rebirth. Yes, in nature. You bought the 4K but haven't watched it. You should watch it. It's a very nice 4K. And as I was saying, there's some really cool bonus features on there that show how much work was put into blocking and planning the filming of the movie. But it's weird to say that it's weird to say in what I'm talking about that Mother is the least extreme ending of my extreme endings in this list. But remember, we're not talking about violence. We're talking about extreme change. We're talking about extreme change in the plot. It's a very basic 4K release. But the transfer is quite gorgeous. So if you haven't watched it, I recommend. Again, not for everybody. The very, very challenging movie. Okay. And if you guys have your own ideas for extreme endings for a movie theme night, please throw them in there and let's talk about them. I would love to add them to the list. So, all right. Moving on. Now we're going to talk about. All right. There we go. I'm getting better at this, yo. Getting better at it. We're doing it faster. We're going to talk about The House of the Devil. This is Ty West. Ty West is very much in the news right now because Ty West directed X and the upcoming Pearl. This movie, though, I don't know. I loved X a lot, but this movie may be his most like visually realized movie. This is in 1983, financially struggling. Basically, it's about a girl who is in college. She needs money and agrees to take a kind of a babysitting job in this giant old house. Again, it's written and directed by Ty West. It stars Jolene Donahue, who I don't know. Tom Noonan is incredibly creepy in this, and Mary Warnov. But there's somebody else too. Greta Gerwig is in this, I believe. Yep, Greta Gerwig is in this movie. So the movie is a riff on kind of like Rosemary's Baby with a little bit of Halloween in there, but it's definitely set in 1983, and you get that feeling. Dee Wallace is in here playing a small role. So it was made in 2009, but it's set in 83, but it definitely has a very 1960s feel. And the reason I have this in my extreme endings list, and again, we're talking about some spoilers because you can't talk about extreme endings without spoiling to a degree. I'm not going to get into too much detail. But you know what? Let's just play the trailer first, and then we'll talk about why it is an extreme ending. Oh, I was bragging all about how much I got this, and I accidentally closed the screen share. Let me pull it back up. So dumb. So dumb. Yeah. See, now I've made life hard for myself here. All right. There we go. Slight delay, but here we go. Let's go. Wait. I think we're in a situation now where there's no sound again. What the heck is happening? You guys weren't hearing sound, right? All right, let me catch up with what you guys are saying really quick. Favorite Ty West. Oh, you love this one too. So that's so good. I'm so glad there's someone else in the chat that likes and appreciates this movie because I love it so much. I'm going to re-add it and see because we had sound until I closed it like an idiot. So window, that. Huh. Yeah, the sound thing is not on here anymore. I'll just play the video a little bit while I'm talking about it. Yeah, because there's no sound coming. Hang on. You got sound now? Oh, still no sound? Okay. So if you look at this video, you'll see it really has this kind of 60s vibe to it. And the main reason it's in my extreme endings list is because once she makes it to the house as the babysitter, there is easily 30 minutes, maybe more, of just her chilling in the house. She's having a snack. I think she reads a book. She's listening to music. and she's walking around the house snooping a lot. So what did he say? The main actress, you said the main actress looks like the lady from Suspiria. Could she be? Could she be the main? Could she be the woman? You're talking about the Suspiria, Dario Argento Suspiria, or are you talking about the remake Suspiria? But there is a style thing happening there. But anyway, you spend this whole time really chill with her, and it's kind of creepy. It's very atmospheric. I find the sort of kind of calm, slow-paced vibe kind of relaxing and scary at the same time. It's just creepy, right? And then all of a sudden, boom, that last act happens, and all hell breaks loose. In many ways. One big way is it gets loud as hell. Like, I remember showing this in one of my 12 Hours of Terror events, and it just you're talking about the Dario Argento. I think maybe it's her hair and stuff, because they went for this retro thing happening with her hair. And it's just like a jolt, like you slam into a wall. This is a movie, again, without being too spoilery, it does involve some satanic situation that she is brought to this house for a very specific purpose. And you're led to that in the opening 15, 20 minutes of it. There's a pretty great kill, but yeah, the last act goes from 0 to 100 in a level of being frenetic. And if you're watching this in a block of movies, it really is like slamming into a wall. Like, it feels like tonally a different movie. It works. I think it's very effective for what it's trying to do. But yeah, it's a very big. So Tristan, you said, all right, you hadn't heard of it. So yeah, so let me show you. I've got the little blue right here. This is a movie that deserves a boutique release. This is an MPI release of the movie. Some boutique label needs to pick this baby up, put it out. Greta Gerwig is fun in the movie. I don't know if I had really thought much about her before this movie. Her role is not big, but she's a lot of fun. But yeah, if you haven't seen this, you have to get ready for a ride. And you have to get ready to take that ride slow, and then boom. Smack you in the stomach. I punch you in the gut. All right. Have you seen the Suspiria remake? It's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right. So the next movie we're gonna talk about here. We're getting into some, like, really, there's some more modern movies in this list than in previous live streams that I've done. I don't know why. Just all right. I'm gonna try this one more time. Because we definitely had it for a minute, and then it, failed us. So let's try it this way. See if this works better. We're going to talk about the 2016 film Don't Breathe. You guys tell me if you got sound on this one.
Your lips look sore. That's how you're making your cash out there?
What do you say you and I move away from Mom together? It's a promise.
You're leaving?
Yeah, as soon as I have the money.
When are you coming back?
Never.
Yo, I got our ticket out of here. Rumor is this guy is
You guys
sitting
got
on
sound?
at least $300K. Boom!
That's her guy.
Wait, is he blind?
You messed up to rob a blind guy, isn't it?
Just because he's blind don't mean he's insane, bro.
Money's probably in there.
Who's there?
Stay right there.
How many of you are there?
Me, man, all right? Just let me go, please. Okay, I swear to God.
We're trapped in here.
There has to be a way out of here. He's coming.
Now you're gonna see what I see.
Okay, so I think we all know why this is in my extreme endings, right? Real quick before I get into it, though, I want to answer some of your messages. The Pierce Brosnan movie I have not watched. I'm hearing good things about it, though. Is that so? That's something. It's called False Positive. That's something maybe I should push up into my 31 days, because I think my 31 days of Halloween, I'm going to do a few streaming things, and it's good to hear from one of you guys that it's actually good. I like Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan's the only reason that I want to see Black Adam, to be honest. You know, him playing Dr. Fate. I did see some trailers for False Positive, and I couldn't decide. Also, don't be nervous about watching the Amazon, the remake of Suspiria. What I could tell you about it is they wisely don't try to remake Suspiria. It has, the vibe of Suspiria, but it's not replicating the style. It has its own style. And there's one sequence in particular in that movie that I think is probably the best demonstration of kick-ass editing that I've, film editing, video editing that I've seen in 15 years. It's so good and so effective. I like the movie a lot, and Argento is in my top 5 directors. So that's all I can tell you. I think you should watch it. I really do. I imported a German 4K of it just to have it on a 4K disc. So Don't Breathe is following a group of kids who want to break into a blind man's house and rip him off. The movie is directed by Fede Alvarez. What happened to Fede Alvarez, you guys? I thought he was going to be the next, big thing, and he hasn't done anything good in so long. Stars Stephen Lang. Stephen Lang is so freaking good in this movie, you guys. So I judge this movie a little bit harshly because I'm legally blind myself. I'm not completely blind to that level, but I am legally blind. And they do a pretty damn decent job with it, while kind of making everything kind of extreme at the same time. If you do, you get around to looking at it, let me know, come up in one of these chats and let's talk about it, because I actually really like the movie. I do. And we'll talk about the one sequence because you're going to know it the minute you see it. But so this movie, Don't Breathe, for the first 90% of the movie, it feels like a really good Blumhouse movie to me. It has that sort of modern mass appeal kind of horror vibe. It's got some pretty effective jump scares, but I mean that in a positive way. It just has that vibe, but it's well done as compared to most Blumhouse movies. And then the last act is when we find out what he's really been doing in his house, this blind guy in the basement. And it's so twisted. This is not something you see in a normal random PG-13 Blumhouse movie. And then even after learning what he's doing, even after, learning the twistedness of what he's doing, we get the turkey baster. And it shocked the shit out of me because it's just not something you see in mainstream, multiplex horror films. I love it. I wish he was still doing this kind of stuff, walking that line between being edgy and, super edgy horror and something that's more mass appeal. You guys, is this not in 4K? Don't Breathe. I don't think it is. It not? It feels like something I should own in 4K if it's in 4K. I just have this Blu-ray. So good though. That turkey baster scene in the theater. Ugh. You couldn't believe the reveal in Don't Breathe. The entire theater. Yeah. So the theater experience with that movie when that happened was phenomenal. Have you guys seen X? Because the X, I had a pretty funny, great experience in X. It's almost the exact same situation. It's a particular scene in X. I'm not going to spoil it in case you haven't seen it. But there is a scene that does have something similar in it that's in this. And if you know, you know. When that happened, there was a couple sitting behind me that just weren't ready. And this guy screamed out some expletives like he was in shock behind me. And it was freaking great. It was great. And that's what you go to the theater for, is to have somebody really get messed up on a movie like that. I loved it. But yeah, Don't Breathe. That turkey baster ending, people lost their minds. And it's still a beautiful thing to behold watching it now. All right, so let's move on here. I see what I've got to do now. I can't share the window, you guys. I have to share a Chrome tab. And when I share it as a Chrome tab, I get the audio. That's what's up. And that's fine. I can do that too. Just an extra step. Just trying to avoid the extra step. So now we're going to talk about this guy right here. There's no way to talk about extreme endings without talking about 10 Cloverfield Lane from 2016. Directed by the man, Dan Trachtenberg. He only does a movie like every 6 or 7 years, but when he does it well, because Prey is also quite good.
I focused on being prepared. I saved your life by bringing you here. I knew this day would come. It's not safe out there. Something's coming.
10 Cloverfield Lane came about when
all right. So they're not giving me a full trailer. It's fine. We know this movie. It is produced by J.J. Abrams. And of course, it stars John Goodman. John Gallagher Jr. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is fantastic. Douglas M. Griffin. So this movie, and it was another one of those theatrical experiences where there was no way I could have predicted the ending, because we go from this claustrophobic horror film, suspense, not really horror, more like suspense, kind of thriller. John Goodman is a delicious bad guy, just like Ed Harris. He's really good, and you sort of just get buried in it. Now, knowing the pedigree of Cloverfield, as it is a sequel, we didn't know how it was a sequel or how it was connected to the first film, though. Now that you've seen it and well, you can see the writing on the wall for the much bigger, alien apocalypse ending that we eventually get. I loved this movie in the theater, though, because it was so divisive. People got really pissed at the ending of this movie, and I think it's brilliant. Another basic studio release. So sad. but a decent 4K. This one's actually a pretty decent 4K. This is not a Disney, so hey, it actually has a decent transfer. There's actually a time in here, if you're a filmmaker, where the film breaks the 180 rule. If you're a filmmaker, you know it actually works. I actually like it. So yeah, you can't talk about extreme endings, and when we're talking about extreme like tonal shifts without talking about 10 Cloverfield Lane. What do you guys think? I mean, I don't really know what else to say about that one because we've all seen it and we all love it. But in an extreme endings movie theme night, it's a must. But now we're about to get to have 1, 2, 3 left. These movies that I'm about to get to are the most extreme. Now we're going to get to the shit. If you guys are ready, let's go. Let's do this. Because now we're going to get to some really extreme stuff. You know, they always share the best for last. So sorry, you guys. I had to say no to this because it's going to bother the crap out of me. Chrome tab. And I'll be curious to know if any of you, if you guys have seen this movie. There we go. Society. Do you guys know this movie, Society, from 1989? Kind of gives a hint. The artwork does. Kind of gives a hint. So it's directed by Brian Usna. I think this might have been his first film. He had previously worked on Reanimator. So it's, you know, his previous experience was kind of body horror. Not really any names of note in this movie character-wise, but let me just show you the trailer.
For Bill Whitney,
I've never been paranoid.
fear plays a large part in family life.
I feel like something's gonna happen. And if I scratch the surface, there'll be something terrible underneath.
He's afraid his sister
Could you zip me up, Billy?
is not what she seems.
God, Bill, what's the matter with you?
He thinks his friends are out to get him.
Make waves, Whitney. You're gonna drown. People are what they are. Now you have to learn to accept that.
He's about to find out the truth.
So why are you guys doing this to me, huh? What, you've been living with these people all your life and you didn't know anything about this?
Is far worse than he could ever imagine.
If you don't follow the rules, Billy, bad things happen. Didn't you know?
Oh, yeah, we got a bot in here. You guys keep watching. I'm going to handle that real quick.
Clarissa? Don't be so intense. Now, some people make the rules and some people follow the rules. It's a question of what you're born to.
You never were one of us. You know, you really deserve what's going to happen to you.
I don't think so. Can't you see they're setting you up for something?
You know how I hate to give you drugs.
You're officially dead.
Don't go home, Billy.
No.
Bill Whitney is about to become one
Showtime, Billy.
with society.
Who are you? Let me give you a hand, Bill.
In Beverly Hills, what you fear is only the beginning.
Anything for society.
All right.
The music that tore the school apart.
They're at it again.
Oof. All right. There we go. All right, you guys, I'm trying to handle this stupid bot that's in here. Have you guys seen this movie at all, or is it just me? I got to put this user. I got to do a little blockage here. Try and just delete a little bit of this garbage. All right, there we go. Doesn't happen to me usually too much, so it kind of surprised me for a second. So Society is an interesting movie. It starts out for the vast majority of the movie feeling like a 1980s kind of like mild. This is an Arrow Video release, mild like sex comedy. Except this kid has maybe a little mental thing going on. He's seeing hallucinations. This is a. Oop, did you guys hear that? Oof, sorry about that. This is an older set. It actually has a Blu-ray and a DVD with it. But this is the only version that's out right now. I'm sadly didn't get the slip. So yeah, he's seeing weird things, but mostly, he's having girlfriend trouble, and he's like trying to hook up with girls and stuff. It's very with his girlfriend and other girls or whatever. It's very 80s in its storytelling. Ugh. There. Let's block this hot garbage. You guys, I'm sorry about that nonsense. Oh, wait. Do I have someone here who's seen it? See, Brian used a freaking classic body horror. Yeah, so you kind of either to me, I find the movie very funny. The first hour of the movie is funny to me. There's like weird jokes in it. There's weird randomness, but really it's just this high school story that's happening with a kid who's having some kind of like mental issues or whatever. And then the social commentary kicks in. Let's say that, because the movie is a statement on elitist society called society. I know it's really on the nose, but there is a body horror thing. It's called the shunting, and I said, we're spoiling, happening in the last act of this movie that is incredible. It's some of the craziest ass body horror special effects that I have ever seen in my entire life of watching movies. It is batshit crazy. This is literally a commentary on society eating itself, without going too much more into it. It is gory, it's sticky, it's slimy, it's gluttonous, it's completely disgusting and completely out of character for the rest of the movie. This may be when we're talking about extreme horror, this probably should have been my number 2, because come on, it's like a lighthearted TNA kind of sex comedy, and then boom, crazy body horror shit happens. This cover kind of gives you some hints about what happens. It's hilarious. This is not a scary movie at all, but it's a great movie. It's a great palate cleanser if you're watching horror movies, because it is horrific in its special effects, horrific in its commentary, and also very funny. Again, there's no actor of note in there. Brian Usna is really the only name of note. Add this. You absolutely add this. Please do. If you love body horror and you haven't seen Society, man, you are in for a treat. You ever have people ask you, what is something that you would love to be able to go back and do again? And one thing I would love to be able to go back and do again is see this for the first time, because the first time I watched this, I was like, what the hell just happened? The last 10 minutes of this movie is like, holy shit. I can't with this damn movie. I can't. It's just so ridiculous. It had been on my recommended list for so long, and I had heard so much about it being kind of like that, like a light sex comedy and stuff like that, that I just kept pushing it aside, because I tend to like grittier horror. But what happened was Arrow Video had one of their $15 sales, and it was there, and everyone kept recommending it to me, like trusted mutuals on YouTube and on TikTok. And I finally had just last year I think a year before last, I actually broke down and just got it. And now I'm pushing it on everybody. And this gave me a really good opportunity to do that. All right. So now to go the complete opposite direction for extreme endings. And you're going to wonder, I'm going to really have to explain why I'm choosing this movie. And I'm fine with that. This is one of the ones I thought I would have to, give a pretty serious explanation for why I'm choosing this as an extreme ender. And again, this is going to be spoilery, so, but I have a sneaking suspicion you guys have seen this. This is Irreversible. It's not rated, of course, from 2002. It is, and I should be fine to show this trailer, I think. It's directed by Gaspar Noé, if you don't know, and starring Monica Bellucci, who I love, and Vincent Cassel. Basically, this tells the story of a couple. Basically, a story of a day in their lives, really. And they go to they go out for the evening, and they have a fight, and she ends up leaving on her own. And in this spot here, I believe it's a subway, it's like a tunnel, she is assaulted, sexually assaulted. And it's one of the grittiest, most disturbing sexual assault scenes I have ever seen in a film. And hopefully we don't see anything like that in this trailer. But you can at least get to see a little bit of Noé's production, like filming style. So I do see that one of you guys that's in the chat right now has seen it. So with that description of what Irreversible is, what I will say is the reason it's in an extreme ending for me is the actual assault happens partway through the film, and then the rest of the film is kind of the boyfriend going out and trying to take revenge. But there's a couple of things that make this film even more hard to watch. And the first one is Gaspar Noé's production style, his shooting style. So he takes the camera off tripod, he takes it out of the hands of the camera operator and just basically floats it around the scene. So it's very seldom sitting still. It's kind of moving, floating the whole time. It floats from person to person, that kind of thing. And the way it floats, the freneticness of it, is determined by the emotional impact that's happening in the story at that time. This movie is told in reverse, completely in reverse, including the closing credits playing at the beginning of the movie backwards. So the assault scene that is incredibly disturbing happens partway through the film. So you're probably asking, well, how is this an extreme ending? Well, the extreme ending of this movie is because you've seen it in reverse. You've seen the boyfriend taking his revenge. Then you've seen what you see partway through why he's taken his revenge. All that happens, and then you still have the rest of the movie to watch in reverse. So you see everything that happened before they went out. You see them in their regular lives. You see them in bed together. You see all this stuff. You see this couple living a good life, and you know what's going to happen to this woman. You know. So it makes the buildup after the thing happened like you're seeing back in time, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know what's going to happen to her, and you kind of fall more in love with these characters. You love them more the more you get to know them, and you freaking can't do anything about it because you know what's coming. And then that shot in the trailer, the overhead shot of her in the park, if you see the actual movie, that shot is gorgeous. She looks beautiful in it. She looks, completely content in her day. It's just gorgeous, and she's gorgeous. And that's the end of the movie. That's the extreme ending. I know I spoiled it, but it's what I said. It's so extreme in it, thematically, tonally, everything is different than the rest of the movie. And this should have been the start of her. It was the start of her day, but we've seen it after we know what's going to happen to her later. It's incredible. It is an incredible, incredible movie. It's very hard to watch. The SA scene, I've already said sexual assault, but whatever, that scene is 8 minutes long. And you just don't see that in most movies. I've been talking a long time. So yeah, it's very extreme. I saw it in the theater. The first time I saw it was in the theater, and I was racked at the end of that movie. I have this beautiful second sight release. Got a hard box there. You can see on the inside. I'll pull it out real quick so you guys can see. Here is the actual Blu-ray. There's a great write-up in there that's actually formatted kind of like the credits. There's a poster. It's double-sided. It's got two kinds of art. I'm not going to pull it out because it's a pain in the butt. And this incredible book. Let me see if there's a. I don't think. I mean, there's a lot of nudity in this movie, so I just want to make sure. Yeah, there's some. Yeah, there's some. And not all of it is the SA scene. In fact, I wish that was the only, because you see this, wonderful romance and stuff between these characters that makes everything just that much harder to watch. So there's a lot of great essays in here. Poster art, that kind of thing. So yeah, if you haven't seen this and you're looking for an extreme ending, but it is a downer. It's a downer, you guys. So if you're trying to have a party, I don't know if this is your choice, but if you're having a hardcore extreme endings, meaning hardcore movie people night, this is, if you like a conversation piece, this is it. This is it. And that's not even my number one extreme endings one. Let's see. What do you say? The way you describe it reminds me of Funny Games. Okay. So, confrontational and using, viewers' genre expectations against them. Oh yeah. It's a reasonable comparison. They're both European also. So that's probably part of it. They got that Euro thing happening. That Michael Haneke directed the both versions of Funny Games, actually. Really good movie, by the way. Both versions are really good. I think it's really hard to say which one I prefer. I always lean to the original because it's the first one, but he remade it shot for shot with some really great actors here in the United States. So, I mean, you can't go wrong with either version. Maybe the music works better in the original, but anyway, it's a very valid comparison. If you haven't seen Irreversible, it's worth a single watch. It is worth a single watch. Okay. I don't know if you want to, I have it on my shelf for event viewing or sharing, that kind of thing, but it isn't a day-to-day viewing thing. But let's get to my number one pick for extreme endings. I have others on the shelf, but I just wanted to pick some of the ones that my go-tos when I'm going to do that kind of, if I'm going to do that kind of genre night, my go-tos. All right, so let's get to the number one. And this may literally be my number one extreme ending in a movie, period. Like, not just for this, just period. Because this thing is, the ending of this movie is insanity. And we're talking about the 1999 movie Dead or Alive. Bring it up there for you. There we go. This is a Takeshi Miike movie. If you don't know Takeshi Miike, he did Audition. He's done Ichi the Killer. Those are the ones that I think people know the most. He had a cameo in Hostel. He's the one that said you'll spend all your money in there. Yakuza Chinese descent and a Japanese cop each wage their own war. I'm having to scroll really weird to be able to read this. Each wage their own war against the Japanese mafia. But they are destined to meet. Let's see. That encounter will change the world. That's actually a really funny, considering the ending, a really funny description. Let's look at this trailer. Oh. Okay, hang on a second. Hang on a second, you guys. Let me make sure. I don't want to be showing. I mean, I'm probably already, like, I'm not monetized anyway. I guess I shouldn't give a crap. And I do mark everything adult. So maybe we'll show it. Maybe we'll just look at it. Have you guys seen this movie? Screw it. Let's just look at it. If I see something too racy, I'll just get out of it. Okay. All right. I guess I understand. Okay. So remember I mentioned to you guys that Takeshi Miike kind of Okay. Remember I mentioned to you guys that he that's the sound. Would make a lot of Yakuza movies to try and help, subsidize his other work, his other films. Well, this is I think his okay, we're doing a Yakuza movie. Let's do a Yakuza movie. And this is put out by Arrow Video. You can very often get this for $25. There's 3 of them. There's a trilogy because the first one, everyone loves it so much. So the movie starts off. I always say that the movie starts like if, Takeshi Miike were actually a blend of him and Quentin Tarantino, because the way it's cut in the first 5 to 10 minutes of that movie feels like a Tarantino movie from the 90s. It's fast paced. It's cut to the beat of the music. It's like sets up so many characters, like just like that. It's so crazy. It sets up all the villains that are going to, never seen Dead or Alive. Going to pick it up put it on the watch list. Yes, please do. So that description pretty much describes the movie. You've got these rival factions, all criminals essentially, coming together, throughout the movie. It's building to their big final battle, which is great and all. Again, I'm spoiling here, you guys, because we did talk about this. And I keep saying that, but I really hate. I'm not a spoiler guy, so the idea of having to spoil things kills me. When the culmination of the battle happens, one guy pulls a rocket launcher out of his own asshole and fires a nuclear missile from it that destroys the entire world. I don't know if I've ever seen a movie get more extreme than that in its ending. And the first time I saw it, I just lost it. I just bust out laughing. I'm like, what the hell is happening here? What is happening with this movie? Because there's no indication of that level of ridiculousness. It's very violent. There's a lot of nudity, I think. Yeah, there's a lot of nudity in there. It's a typical Yakuza movie with the level of Takeshi Miike's violence, if you've seen any of his other movies. But damn, I don't know if somebody made Miike mad and he's just like, fine, if I have to do a Yakuza movie, let's just blow everything the hell up. You got to see it, you guys. You got to see it. And if you're going to do a movie theme night with extreme endings, this is what you close with, because nothing is crazier. Wolf Cop is a wild movie. You just watched that recently. I haven't seen that. I've heard of it. I haven't seen that one. What a selling point. Sounds amazing. You gotta see it. You have to. There has not been, like, I want to laugh about it because the first time I saw it, I was like, what the shit just happened? And I haven't seen a movie that had that level of ridiculousness, like, that wasn't telegraphed. You know what I mean? So this movie is, it takes itself pretty seriously. There's some humor in it, but it takes itself pretty seriously. And it is a Yakuza movie, an uber violent Yakuza movie, which I can be okay with too. But damn, that ending. You got to see it. That's all I can tell you. So here is my entire stack. If I were ready to do an Extreme Endings movie night, these are mine. Did I miss anything, you guys? Did I miss anything? What would you guys call? What else would you guys call an extreme ending? But if you guys see that, if you see Suspiria, the remake, you got to let me know, because these are all really amazing films to talk about. Dead or Alive, all three are fun. The first one is the greatest, though. And also, when you're picking up a copy of Dead or Alive, be careful. Make sure you just get the Arrows video release, because there was another Dead or Alive that came out later that was based on the video game. And it's really bad. It's a really bad movie. But I think it's called DOA: Dead or Alive. So, but anytime you do searches for Dead or Alive, that's the first thing that comes up. So make sure you don't accidentally end up with that movie, because I would feel really sad for you. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to look up Wolf Cop. Is that a Japanese movie or a Chinese movie? The name is really familiar to me, but I haven't seen it. I don't know it. All right, we ran a little bit long, but I had a lot of movies to talk about. I probably pulled too many off the shelf, but and I know I probably spent too long on Irreversible, but damn. Society, come on. So let me just pull a list here. Let me pull a trilogy. Here's an ultimate trilogy. If you're really going to do this, this is how I would do it. I would do, this is what I would do. If you're doing doubles, if you're doing two, it's obvious. You're going to do Society and you're going to do Dead or Alive. That's a freaking awesome night right there. But if you want a third one from this stack to add, I'm going to say, like, none of the rest of these really match these two, because these are like ridiculous. So if I was going to do a trilogy, I might go, this would be a fun trilogy, is I would go with either, I would go with these three. Oh, this would be great. So if you do Don't Breathe, you do House of the Devil, and you do 10 Cloverfield Lane. These are all very claustrophobic films. They're all set in for the most part, a single location. Yeah, that's a great trilogy right there. There's your movie theme night right there if you want to do that. Or if you really want to mess up your mind, then do Mother and Irreversible. They work. That's a double shot right there. Yeah, so that's one. Get in front of the camera here. That's one, a double. This is, I might have to do this one soon. I might have to do this double shot soon because, yeah, that needs to happen. Yeah. All right, you guys. I am running out of steam. Wolf Cop is Canadian. Huh. Wolf Cop is Canadian. Yeah, please let me know because I would really love to hear what you think of it. All right. I'm going to bring this thing to an end then. I'm running out of steam here. I want to thank you guys for hanging with me. If you're watching this later, leave your comments in the comment section below. Let me know what your choices are for this kind of movie theme night. Let me know what I missed because I know there's a ton more extreme ending movies out there. And then in the next day or two, I'll put a poll out to decide what movie thing we're going to talk about next week. If you guys have any suggestions, again, for another movie theme night, you can drop those in the comments too. Thank you guys again for chilling with me here and chatting all night. Really cool. Till next we meet, pull something cool off the shelf, share it with your friends and family, and remind them why physical media is the best way to watch films and TV at home. See you guys on the next one.